Greetings, my fellow wage earners, slaves to the corporate overlords and the powers of fiat. It's your favorite cyber prophet here, Dave, broadcasting live from the world of reason and Bitcoin maximalism, where the only rule is that fairness and transparency reign supreme, unlike your paycheck, which seems to vanish faster than your boss's accountability. Today, I've got a truth bomb for you, and trust me, it's going to blow a hole right through your HR department. All wages should adjust for inflation every month. Yeah, you heard me. Monthly. And let me tell you why. It's because your employer is essentially committing legal fraud by pretending that what they're paying you today is worth the same as it was a year ago, even when inflation's been nibbling away at it like a hungry rat at a block of cheese. Let me break it down for you. You ever notice how your paycheck stays the same, but everything else costs more? That's because your company wants you to believe that you're still earning that sweet, stable income they promised you, while they sit back knowing full well that your salary has been silently shrinking thanks to inflation. But they don't tell you that. No, they keep quiet, smiling, nodding, pretending everything's fine while you're losing buying power faster than a snowball in a microwave. Why? Because companies never increase salaries unless they absolutely have to. They'll cling to that static paycheck like it's the last life raft on a sinking ship. And guess what? That's not just greedy, it's fraudulent. Oh yeah, you heard me. Fraudulent. You see, they're giving you the illusion that you're making the same amount of money year after year, but in reality, every month you're getting paid less without them saying a word. If they were honest, they'd be adjusting your wages for inflation every month, because inflation is eroding your pay every month. But they don't. And why? So they can keep pretending they're giving you a fair deal when they're not. This is legal fraud, people. You're being led to believe you're making the same amount when in reality, you're not. If a company knows inflation is eating away at your purchasing power and does nothing about it, they're not just being stingy, they're misleading you, plain and simple. And don't get me started on those annual raises. A 3% raise in a 5% inflation world, that's like giving you an umbrella in a hurricane. It does nothing. But it looks good on paper, doesn't it? What should they be doing? Adjusting your wages monthly to match inflation, every single month. If inflation spikes 6% in a year and your wages stay the same, guess what? They just gave you a pay cut. And they didn't have to lift a finger. You're working just as hard, but they're giving you less. Think about that for a second. Now imagine if every month your paycheck adjusted to match the inflation rate. You'd actually be making what you worked for. Your purchasing power would stay intact, and your employer wouldn't be able to pull this silent wage cut trick anymore. That's how it should be. Fair and transparent. But let's be real. Most companies aren't going to do this out of the kindness of their hearts. No, they'll only do it when the law forces them to, or when enough of us get fed up and start demanding what's rightfully ours. Because unless there's pressure, they'll keep letting inflation do their dirty work for them, keeping their costs down while your quality of life takes the hit. It's financial sleight of hand, and they're counting on you not noticing. Look, you wouldn't stand for your bank quietly siphoning money out of your savings account every month, right? So why do we tolerate companies doing essentially the same thing to our wages? It's time to wake up. This isn't just about fairness. It's about calling out companies for what they're doing, defrauding you. They know inflation is real. They know it's hurting your paycheck, and if they're not adjusting your wages to account for that, they're participating in a grand deception. So here's the deal. Demand monthly inflation adjustments. Hold your company accountable. If they refuse, start thinking about how you're going to protect yourself in this economic circus. And might I suggest an option? Bitcoin. Yeah, because while your fiat paycheck gets eroded by inflation, Bitcoin doesn't care. It's beyond the reach of these inflationary games, and that, my friends, is the key to real financial freedom. In the end, this isn't just about money. It's about honesty. It's about not letting corporations pretend they're paying you what you deserve when they're not. So go, Demand what's fair. And remember, if your boss won't adjust your wage for inflation, maybe it's time to adjust your financial strategy and stop playing their game.